are the New York Knicks. I'm back, rocking in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, part of the Lineups Podcast Network, lineups.com, and Dash Radio. I am Jay, and with me is Mark. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing all right. Never a dull moment in the NBA.
The earth shook twice on Friday night.
I thought that we were done with interesting things to talk about for the next 2 months, and this week was almost as crazy as last week.
Holy crap, what a... let's break it down first. A big trade / signing happened. Let's talk about the Knicks Summer League game first. You had the meeting of Barrett versus Zion, and the game ended short. The end game had to be cut short because of an earthquake, which happens, I guess, in Summer League.
Yeah, if you missed it, that wasn't a joke. There was a literal 7.1 earthquake, and the game just stopped.
The earthquake was in California, but I guess felt in Vegas. They felt like the scoreboard or the overhead scoreboard was shaking, and some of the speakers, and they were like, "We're just done here."
Yeah.
So all these people that waited, apparently, like people were in that building for like 7 hours to see Zion. Zion got injured, left the court also. Not majorly injured, but got a knee. He bumped knees with someone, and he was out of the game pretty fast.
He's out for the rest of Summer League.
He's out for the rest of the Summer League, so he is taking over Anthony Davis's job of being the injured Pelican. So, forgetting the earthquake, let's talk a little bit about the game. Do you want to start with Barrett or Zion? Let's talk about Zion. The announcers took turns orgasming over Zion.
The ESPN coverage made it almost unwatchable.
Holy crap. Like, first of all, they spent half the coverage talking about things that were not going on the court. Pretend we're all watching the game and care about the game. I don't care if it's not it's a meaningless game. Just give some play-by-play and talk about the guys on the court.
And then they kept playing interviews over the game, and they were interviewing random people and then asking them what they thought about Zion.
Holy crap. So Zion played, he was 4 for 9 for the night. He had a couple of dunks. His big moment basically was he stole the ball from Knox had gotten a rebound. Zion took the ball from Zion took the ball from Knox, dunked the ball, and everyone went like crazy as if that dunk was worth 10 points.
Zion has one of the ugliest shots I've ever seen.
His shot does not look good.
I would be, yes, we would have, before anybody emails us, yes, we would have taken Zion gladly, but I would be nervous about the way his shot looks.
By the way, the fact they went crazy over the fact that Zion took the ball from Knox and dunked. Knox, who's not the best defender in the world, who was also guarding Zion for his big 9 minutes of play, he also blocked a shot that Zion put up. So yeah, it was kind of an equal, like, I wouldn't say Zion even won the matchup against Knox.
Also, Zion was a minus 15 in 9 minutes.
I mean, whatever. And none of that stuff really matters.
It doesn't. Everyone was blowing everything out of proportion. Even when Zion took a rest, ESPN would just show him on the bench and say, yeah, Zion's not playing right now.
They literally did that. I'm just saying I am not completely won over that Zion's going to be the greatest thing ever, even though he's the most hyped rookie since LeBron. He does a lot of dunking of the basketball. He's yet to show that. I guess he's only played his first Summer League and his last Summer League game. But
okay, let's move on to Barrett.
Yeah. So anyway, Barrett shot the ball a lot.
He did. 18 shots in 25 minutes.
He shot the ball a lot.
So Barrett is looking like
Do you think the Knicks can orchestrate a trade of Barrett for Fred Jackson? I hadn't heard of Fred Jackson prior to that game, but damn, he looked good.
Yeah, he looked really good. 30 points.
If Fred Jackson was RJ Barrett, I would be through the roof right now.
So, Barrett, what are your thoughts?
So he had one or two decent moves. I think he was probably there's a lot was going into into this game because there was like this big matchup against Zion. His first time wearing a Knicks uniform. I think he probably was just nervous. I think he'll end up being a good NBA player. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to pull a Knox where Knox was like 6 for 37 every game. Maybe he's going to take over that role, and Knox and Barrett are going to combine to shoot the Knicks out of every game possible. I was a fan. I overall I am not concerned. Just like don't want to blow by proportion Zion right now. Barrett's going to be a very good NBA player. What do you think?
Yeah, he missed a lot. He shot 4 for 18. There's only 1 for 8 from the 3, 1 for 4 from free throw.
Barrett's the Knicks play have another summer league game tonight. It's going to start about a half hour, and if Barrett goes 7 for 14, we'll be fine. Like he's not going to shoot 4 for 18 every night.
Well, the thing is, his form looks fine. He got to the rim. He missed some easy layups. I think it could have just been jitters.
I mean, one of the things you have to, I'd say, like he's a rookie, obviously. The Knicks have also they put their starting unit basically for the summer league. The Knicks really went all in for the summer league. I'm surprised Bobby Portis is not playing as well, and Julius Randle's not playing as well. But the guys that are second year players who were basically in Barrett's spot last year all looked pretty good.
Yeah, Trier looked really, really good. Knox looked much better. I really would like Kadeem Allen as on that 15th man spot, but it looks like that's going to Lance Thomas.
Oh God, they should leave that open. They don't need to. I don't know why the rush to sign Lance when you don't even have playing time for Lance. Kadeem Allen, he looks better. I'm not convinced that Kadeem needs to do it. Don't they have that rookie also? The guy, the free agent, that's Division II guy, or is he a two-way contract?
That's going to be a two-way.
Okay, they should. Obviously, you should sign a 15th player, but they could also wait a little bit and see who else becomes available. I don't know if it needs to be. Just don't give it to Lance Thomas. You don't need Lance Thomas in this role.
Yeah, it's somebody, I forgot who it was, mentioned that they're probably grooming him for a front office position like Houston. Just do it now.
Yeah. You want a front office position? Take one now.
Yeah, just make him player development guy.
You don't need to waste the 15th spot just because a guy that can't really play anymore, or not anymore, or ever. I don't think you need Lance Thomas in this role. You're much better putting a young player who might add more to the roster, whether it be Kadeem Allen or someone else.
Anyway, so for Summer League, it's Summer League. I mean, we've had players went nuts in Summer League and didn't do anything in the regular season and vice versa. So it's hard to get much out of it. I look for things like, how do they look? Like, even if they missed a lot of shots, how do they look missing the shots? Barrett didn't shy off from taking shots when he was missing them, and his form looked fine. So, because I was ripping on how Zion looked so bad when he was shooting from the outside, and somebody fired back with Barrett's shooting. But I had to mention, but Zion looks like he literally can't hit a three-pointer. Whereas Barrett looks fine. He has the ugliest shot since Noah or Sean Marion. It's just terrible, terrible form.
By the way, talking about second-year players that look pretty good, Mitchell Robinson looked pretty good. He was blocking every shot that was near him. He got 2 steals. I liked what I saw from Mitchell Robinson.
I did too. Still only played 22 minutes.
I would like the Summer League rules, I believe, and I'm not positive. I believe you go out 10 fouls in the Summer League. I think that should follow Mitchell Robinson the rest of the season.
I mean, he had 4 in 22 minutes, so...
Yeah, that's also the reason that you may want to sign more bigs than as the Knicks did, because Mitchell Robinson may have some trouble staying on the court. Or sometimes he'll get 30, 35 minutes, and sometimes he'll be out in 20 minutes because of his foul trouble. So, but overall, Barrett could have had a better debut, but it is what it is, and I still think he's going to be good. I'm not won over by Zion, even though, and I'm probably hating on Zion because I want to, but the second-year guys, they really won me over a little. I like what I saw from the second-year guys.
I was super impressed with Trier. I saw a couple people tweeting saying, what's Trier doing in Summer League? He's too good to be here, which made me feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Trier also... Everyone's saying that Bullock or who are the other guys they signed? Basically, everyone's saying Bullock, Damian. Trier might have a shot at our shooting guard role.
Yeah,
might have a shot at shooting. He might have a shot at starting at shooting guard. I think Trier is going to be a big part of the Knicks offense, the Knicks team going forward.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, do you want to move on to? We like the summer league. There'll be more games. You want to move on to trade stuff?
Yeah, sure. I thought it was funny that people were saying Trier's too good to be in summer league when he went undrafted like a year and a half ago.
He looks like a guy that should have been drafted.
I mean, I think he qualifies for summer league.
Yeah, well, I think summer league generally is guys in their either going into their first or their second year. That's generally what summer league is.
Yeah, it's like the rookie sophomore game almost.
Yeah, and the Knicks, I don't know all the other guys in the court. So I guess we have to mention that guy Iggy Iggy. Let's just call him Iggy.
Yeah.
What do you think? I wasn't so impressed with him. I mean, again, in summer league, who knows?
He got a lot of rebounds. He was another guy who wasn't afraid to shoot. He just didn't shoot well.
They're not going to be not the most athletic, and he didn't look that athletic. And I don't know if in a league like this, if you're like how much you're going to thrive if you're not the most athletic. Like what is he like a power forward?
Yeah,
or small forward. But he's whatever. The Knicks apparently they traded up to get him. The other guy apparently the Knicks were. It's been reported the other guy the Knicks were going for was Bol, but they didn't get Bol, so they got this guy instead. Either one it's a second round pick. Who knows?
I'm happy we didn't get a Bol.
Why?
That guy has bust written all over him.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's bust if he's a top 10 pick. If he's a mid second round pick, it's not a bust. It's just like let's take a shot.
Yeah, but I mean, when the guy is projected top 5 1 year and the very next year he gets drafted 41st, I think most teams caught on.
People, he obviously like there were some issues maybe with like they thought he was uncoachable or his injury or everything else. Like
everything,
he still could end up being good. You get a lot of potential in a second round pick. I think it's a worthwhile second round pick. Maybe not at the top of the second round, but like middle of 45th pick or wherever he won that's a great pick there.
All right, well, I disagree. Moving on.
Well, how dare you disagree with me, Jay? Okay, so let's move on to the trade. So you have the actual. Okay, Kawhi signed with the Clippers. Everyone was going on. What's going on? Why is Kawhi not signing? And apparently he was not signing because he was forcing Paul George to, or he asked Paul George. He got Paul George to request a trade from OKC, and OKC got every draft pick the Clippers will ever have going forward for the rest of the time.
So, okay, first of all, I love that Kawhi told the Lakers on Friday night. Told the Lakers on Friday night not to sign anybody because he's going to LA. Lakers missed out on a couple more free agents, and then he did go to LA.
Oh my God! I think in some way maybe he really wants to he does not want to play with LeBron, or maybe LeBron at this age, and he really wants to be. He's one title away from tying LeBron for a number of titles,
which is insane. No, oh yeah, he's got 2 already.
He's 2. LeBron's only got 3. I mean, LeBron's been to 1 million finals, but he's only got 3 titles. And Kawhi is stepping into the best player after winning the Finals MVP and getting Toronto to the title. He's becoming the consensus best player in the NBA. And why go play with LeBron when you can beat LeBron?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this from all the angles. So the trade was. Oh, by the way, also it was reported that before this went down, Toronto, I guess it was OKC had offered Paul George and Russell Westbrook to Toronto, and they were trying to do that trade also, but it didn't. Because that also put more pressure on the. They basically put more pressure. I guess. I mean, basically, I guess the Toronto move put more pressure on the Clippers, to get that done, basically.
Right.
But let's talk about it from everyone's angle. So I guess first from the Clippers angle. Clippers got Kawhi and Paul George. They traded 4 unprotected first-round picks. I think a 5th pick that was protected and 2 pick swaps. An insane haul, plus Shea Alexander, plus Danilo Gallinari. Of course, there's an ex-Knick involved in the trade because ex-Knicks are just involved in everything. What do you think of the trade from the Clippers standpoint? Are they the favorite to win it all?
So the Clippers ended up trading the 2022, 24, and 26 unprotected. Miami's 2021, which is also unprotected, and 2023, which is protected 1 through 14, and pick swaps in 23 and 25.
I mean, it's insane.
So they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 firsts and 2 pick swaps.
So, but
and 2 players.
Let's get to the Thunder in a second. But from the Clippers standpoint, do you like this trade for them? If you're the Clippers, do you do this trade? And you also, this may be a lot to give for Paul George, but you're really giving this for Paul George and Kawhi because
you get neither without it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get Kawhi without doing the trade, so you're kind of in a position that you have to do this. And either the Clippers were very good last year, but they were a first round team, maybe a second round team. If you get a little better, they weren't going anywhere. You're in that middle zone of like, I'm not sure how we get better unless Shea Alexander maybe takes a step up or we get lucky in the draft. We went from that. You went from that to basically being a finals contender. You went all in. You sacrificed the future majorly for this, but the goal is to win a title. And so if you win one title in 10 years, you're doing pretty well as a franchise.
I was amazed at how full their roster still is. I mean, look at this. They
got a pretty deep roster. It's not the Lakers, where the Lakers, I mean, what kind of garbage is on that team right now? They just gave Rondo a 2-year deal. They have to bring back KCP. I'm waiting for the Michael Beasley's like, where's my phone call? I'm sure I'm coming back there.
Him and Stevenson will be back. So look, the Clippers still have Beverly, Wilson, Chandler, JaMychal Green.
Chandler's not there anymore. I thought Chandler left.
Okay. Well, they still have JaMychal Green, Harkless, Harrell, Lou Williams, Zubac. And then you add Kawhi and George.
And Shamet also.
And Landry Shamet. So that's 7 deep. All you need is 7 guys to win a championship.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe he's still on the I don't know why I thought he was on the Clippers anymore.
You're probably thinking of Tyson Chandler leaving? I don't know.
No, I think I saw Chandler. I think when I thought the Clippers were getting no one, I was like, oh, they got Chandler. Ha, 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 that's all they got. But turned out they make the biggest haul of this offseason.
So they're pretty stacked.
So
and
Jay, you're someone that's reluctant to trade away the future.
Yeah.
If you were the Clippers, would you do this?
I think so, because you have now 3-4 year window where you can pull off a 3-peat now with this team. Yeah,
at least you have a very good chance of getting at least one title with this team.
And look, if say you're a finals contender for the next 3 years, those 3 draft picks aren't worth anything.
I mean, and whatever. Like it's worth a shot. Do you think? I guess the question to you is, do you think this team is good enough to win the title? I mean, I guess is Paul George being your number 2? Does that put that?
It is. It is. It's just Kawhi and Paul George both have a little bit of a sketchy injury history, so this is a huge risk, but I think it's a worthwhile risk. I mean,
yeah.
If everyone's healthy, they can win the championship. So that's
it's
all
also
you can
you have guys there. They're both two-way players. Kawhi and Paul George are both excellent defenders, plus being very good offensive players. That's really, if you're going to build around players, you want guys to be two-way players, not just offensive talents.
Yeah, that's the other thing. People are going to say, "Oh, Jay, you've been against every all-in trade the Knicks have proposed," and I say, "Yeah," because the Knicks usually go in for a guy like Carmelo who only plays one side of the court. It's totally different when you have a two-way player like Kawhi or Paul George. That makes a huge, huge difference. I
think it's so hard to win the title in the NBA. You have to have certain players to be able to win it. You have to have sometimes you have to push, no matter what the assets you're collecting, sometimes you have to push your chips into the middle and just say, I'm going for it. And if this doesn't work, you can't kill the Clippers for making this. None of their fans can say, if this is a disaster, you can't kill them. They made the right move. It's the move you make 100 times out of 100 because this is what you need to do to win the title in the NBA. Just like Toronto took a huch gamble to trading for Kawhi, and it worked out spectacularly. So
look what it did.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Look what it did. It arguably made the Lakers worse because they held off on signing anybody else. It made the Thunder way worse, and it made the Raptors way worse. They kind of took out 3 opponents with this move as well.
Okay, so Thunder. From the Thunder standpoint, do you like the move for the Thunder? You get a call. It's July 1st. We want Paul George. Sorry, what? We have him for like 3 more years. What are you talking about? You want him? Well, he's going to ask you 2 minutes from now that he wants he wants to be traded. What are you talking about? Knock, knock, knock. What? Are you tampering? How did you know Paul George was going to walk in my office right now? This is the NBA. We tamper. Just get over it. Give it to us.
Right.
At the same time, if you're the Thunder, your franchise is not like you have a very good team. Do you think they were going to contend? I mean, like obviously the West is wide open. Did you think they had a shot with Paul George and Westbrook?
They have like an outside puncher's chance, but not really.
Yeah, I don't think they were good enough. And then if you're not good enough and someone tells you, I'm going to give you a chance to restart, get out of all these contracts, and give you a boatload of draft picks, it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, so I like this a lot. The Thunder have all their draft picks, and now they have all the Clippers draft picks.
Plus, they're about to get more draft picks because now you have a perfect excuse to trade Westbrook. Prior to this, if you tried to trade Westbrook, it looks bad for the fans, looks bad for everyone. Now Westbrook is going to ask for a trade, so you can move on from him.
Yeah, the rumor is they're already in discussions with Westbrook, so...
Yeah, come December 16th, you get 5 first-round draft picks from the Knicks for Westbrook, so you're good.
So, yeah,
let's hold off on Westbrook. Let's hold on discussing Westbrook. Okay?
They have 2 first-round draft picks every year now for the next 5 years. They're going to get stuff for Westbrook, and they'll probably try and move Steven Adams and get something for him, too. So this is like an instant rebuild. So I like this a lot.
This is what you want. This is how you start a rebuild, by having a team give you like a ridiculous package.
Mm-hmm.
So winners from this trade, Clippers definitely winners. Thunder, I think, are definitely winners here also. Speaking of losers, the Lakers. What do you think about the Lakers here?
The Lakers went all in. They got their 2 guys, LeBron and Davis. They have a pretty weak roster other than that. Yeah,
I believe Kuzma. They got Rondo. They got Boogie Cousins, who apparently made more money last year with Golden State's 1-year, $5 million offer. He took less money to go to the Lakers. Things are not working out for Boogie.
They got Jared Dudley. They got Danny Green. I mean, it's not a terrible team.
$15 million a year for Danny Green. Danny Green, whose career is almost over, got a 2-year, $30 million contract because the Lakers don't even know how to spend their money because everyone was off the board when it was time for them to spend.
It's a playoff team, but...
Is it? I know you said before, are they a playoff team? And I am not positive they are a playoff team. They have 2 of the best players in the world, but those 2 players both are not playing 82 games.
Right. I mean, well, let's do this. You definitely got the Warriors, the Nuggets. I'd say the Rockets, right?
Well, there were 8 teams that made the playoffs last year, and none of them were the Lakers. So who's falling out?
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Thunder.
Thunder are probably falling out because, especially when they're going to trade Westbrook, they're probably no longer a playoff team. Kings are getting better, though. Minnesota's getting better.
Dallas
is getting better.
I think the Blazers got worse, but they're probably still a playoff team.
You think the Blazers got worse because they lost Cantor?
Yeah, where are they now? Cantor went to the Celtics. Yeah, I think the Blazers got worse, but they're still a playoff team. But then you got the Mavericks are much better.
The Lakers at best are like a 7th or 8th seed in my mind. I mean, they could turn on the playoffs, but I think they're going to have their season is going to be a tough season, especially if LeBron or Anthony Davis get injured. Which LeBron has only been injured 1 season of his career, but Anthony Davis has been injured every season of his career.
Right, but it was the most recent season.
Yeah, so I would be a little concerned with this roster and what they and the chemistry and everything else. And
I think the Lakers can go anywhere between 6th and 9th.
The thing is, if they had not gambled on getting Kawhi, if they just saw it, like read the tea leaves and realized they weren't getting Kawhi from day one, they could have signed Jimmy Butler. They could have signed a lot of different players.
I think they really, really thought they were getting him. I think everybody thought they were getting him, especially when he said, hold off, going to L.A.
Who got a better haul as far as forgetting Anthony Davis and LeBron, the rest of the Lakers roster, or the Knicks signings?
Wait,
I mean, just in the sense of like everyone else the Knicks signed, they could have used all the guys the Knicks signed.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne Ellington would have been helpful. Reggie Bullock would have been helpful. I don't know about Elfrid Payton would have been helpful, but like, there's enough guys the Knicks signed that they would have liked these guys to be available.
No, Elfrid Payton would have been helpful. They don't have a point guard.
Well,
They didn't until they got Rondo.
Well, yeah, they got their Rondo. I was going to say LeBron's kind of the point guard anyway, but yeah. So I don't love. So moving on, the Raptors. How do you feel about the Raptors? Who they got a title, but now they lost Kawhi for nada.
Worthwhile gamble. They won a title.
How do you feel about them now, though? Are they this move?
Yeah, no,
they won the title. Yeah, they're winners. Overall, they're winners. No question about that. Where do you go from now? Where do you go now if you're the Raptors? Do you rebuild? Do you run it back and just call it Team Siakam?
I think you do, because if you look at it, they're worse than Bucks, Sixers, Pacers, Nets.
You're saying rebuild?
Maybe Celtics. They're still like the sixth best team in the East.
They had a crazy record when because Kawhi, they did the load management thing with Kawhi last year. Kawhi missed about like 20 games, and their record with Kawhi out was something like 16-4 or 17. They had a crazy high winning percentage without Kawhi, and that wasn't that Kawhi they're better without Kawhi, because that's not true. But they have a very good team even without Kawhi.
Right. Well, they also lost Green now too, but still.
That hurts. But they still have Siakam, who's very good. They still have Van Vliet, who's very good. They still have Gasol. They still have a lot of.
I think they're the sixth best team in the East, which again gives you a puncher's chance. So
Lowry, Gasol, and
Siakam,
Ibaka. Those three are going to be. They have 1 year left. All three of them have 1 year left in their deal. They're going to have a ton of money coming off after next season. Kind of makes sense just to run it back one more year, see what happens next year, and then you can go from there when these guys are all off the books.
Yeah, either that or you run it through January, see if you got any legs, and if you don't, you trade all those guys and stack up assets.
Trade all those guys and get Westbrook. Okay, Kawhi, winner or loser here? Obviously, he's a winner. Does he is the NBA now his? Has the torch been passed?
Yeah, it has.
And
I think it was about poor Durant. It was about to get passed to Durant, and then it didn't.
I guess it was kind of Durant. LeBron kind of gave it to Durant, and then Durant just kind of fumbled it.
Well, it's not his fault. He tore his Achilles.
It is his fault, Jay. It's always his fault, Jay. Let's just beat on Durant. So Kawhi is going to, if he wins, I mean, this is huge. Like, he could win. He's the favorite to win now going forward. The Clippers. I don't know, Kawhi, a very under the radar emerges as the best player in the NBA.
Has anybody been the best player on 3 different teams?
Yeah,
to win a championship.
I don't think. I mean,
I think it's been done with 2 teams.
Kareem did it on 2
times.
teams.
Yeah.
Wilt did it on 2 teams. Who's done it on 3 teams? And can you imagine? Can you remember a finals when the best player from each team left, changed squads right after the year was over?
Never.
I mean, even at a finals, what final MVP moves on?
Yeah, that's rare enough. Having the best player on both teams leave, it's unheard of.
Okay, one more. NBA contracts. When you're a team and you have a contract with a player, it seems like you have to pay them the entire contract, or you're kind of stuck with that contract.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a player, do contracts matter anymore?
No.
Not at all.
I don't feel like it anymore.
Paul George, I have 2.5 years to go. I want to leave. Great. Anyone could just say, I have Anthony Davis. I know I'm a free agent in 2 years, but I don't want to play anymore. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, the players now have too much power.
Yeah, has it gone too far here?
It definitely has.
It's gonna this is gonna get worse and worse. And firstly, NBA is stuck on these 4-year deals, which means every 2 years there's a whole crop. The NBA has a giant. Everyone it's like a musical chairs. Everyone changes spots.
I think 13 out of the 26 All-Stars from this year switch teams.
It's a little much, and then 2 years from now, the same thing will happen. But there's too much power in the name of the players, I feel like, more than anything.
Well, I also don't like all this movement because it's exciting for a while, but then you realize, hey, I'm pretty much just rooting for a jersey now because nobody stays on a team.
Well, I mean, I think we've been doing that for a while for the Knicks because I think they've had 1,000 different players since we started the podcast. But But it is a little annoying. I want a little more stability. I don't know how to do it, though. Do you allow longer contracts? How about you allow longer contracts but allow more amnesties?
Well, they did the whole 5-year give extra money thing, thinking it would keep players, and it seems like it's having the opposite effect.
The 5-year deals have made things work. I mean, no one's that you want to stick around has stuck around for it. And then the players that you don't want have all said yes to those contracts. Like John Wall, I'm sure Wizards are so happy he signed the 5-year deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's working out that well for the NBA. You want to go to questions?
Oh, were we going to do Westbrook?
Oh, God.
Okay, so let's not spend a lot of time on this. But
you want to take? Do you want to take a break? Is there a commercial, or can I just take a knife and cut myself while you talk about this?
So, pretty much everybody is under the impression that Westbrook is now gone, and why?
It makes sense. The Paul George is gone. They're not going to be competing. Westbrook is last years of his prime. Clearly, Westbrook would want out, and he has a perfect excuse to leave.
Absolutely. But the place
I've got 4 years left of my deal. I want out.
The place he goes should not be the New York Knicks.
So the seems like the contenders, the Miami Heat, they just got Jimmy Butler. They have Dragic, but Westbrook would probably be a better point guard in theory. And Miami has the assets. They seem like they don't. They seem like a team. They'll get the talent and they'll just make it work. And pairing him with Jimmy Butler would make the Jimmy Butler move make more sense.
Yeah. So Detroit and Miami seem like the front runners. A lot of people are asking.
Yeah, Detroit's got Blake Griffin. You want someone to pair with him and make a run. It would make sense if you're Detroit.
Yeah. But a lot of people are saying, should the Knicks go for him?
The Knicks can't make an offer for him. The Knicks cannot make a move for him until December, when you have to wait till December 15th, they said, and that you have to wait till December 15th to trade anyone you signed this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks used all their cap space on free agents, but they have a lot of assets come December 15th to trade for Westbrook.
Right. But what does that do? He's 30. The rest of the team is 25 and under.
Well, I have a question for you. Before you even get into the Westbrook analysis, you killed the Knicks for not saving their cap space to get bad contracts. But the way the Knicks have gone about it, as of December, they will have a ton of flexibility to take on any player that feels like they're in a bad situation. Like Westbrook, even if you don't like Westbrook, they could take on Westbrook. They could take on Damian Lillard. Anyone that wants out, the Knicks have a lot of flexibility to get that guy now.
Yeah, they could, but
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying their strategy is not the worst strategy. If you're talking about if they just took on bad contracts, they might have been much harder to move. They have pieces now that are reasonable to trade for a guy in a bad situation.
So
or
it's
a guy in a situation that wants out.
Perfect way to destroy the rebuild before it happens.
Well, I mean, the Knicks are going to destroy it. They're going to pour gasoline on their rebuild at some point. It's just going to happen and just light the thing on fire. So how do you feel about Westbrook as far as Miami? Should Miami do it?
Yes.
Why? Just because it's not the Knicks?
Yes.
Okay. Same with Detroit, same answer. But you would agree with both rosters, at least makes sense for them to go all in because they have another vet all-star.
Well, Miami getting Butler makes absolutely no sense. If you get Westbrook, you're like, okay, now we're at least a playoff team.
I was talking earlier today to a Miami Heat fan who said, you know what? I don't want Westbrook. Justice Winslow is getting sneaky better. He's getting a lot better. He's someone we can really build around also. We have pieces. I think he was just all aboard. Jimmy Butler makes sense without Westbrook.
That being said, they're going to do Dragic, a couple of draft picks, and maybe Winslow.
I don't know if they have any draft picks. I think they're kind of running low on draft picks. So the Knicks. Will Knicks fans be in favor? If you had to say the majority of Knicks fans, are they in favor or not of getting Westbrook?
I think the majority are not, but there's going to be a very vocal
loud minority.
Not even a huge minority, but the people who want Westbrook are going to be very loud about it, I think.
You know who's going to be really loud about the Knicks getting Westbrook? The New York media. They will beat this drum until Westbrook is traded. We will be hearing about it all the time. But the Knicks have to get Westbrook. Where they're going to be so in favor of it until the trade happens, and they'll call it the dumbest move the Knicks could have made.
Mark Berman's going to do that.
How do you feel about why should the Knicks not get Westbrook, Jay?
It doesn't fit in with their plan right now. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the roster.
How does getting a MVP, a former MVP, also on a annual, what's the best? He's basically an all-star every year, one of the best players in the NBA, a former MVP. How does that not fit into their plan?
3 straight triple-double seasons.
3 straight triple-double seasons. He has proof he passes the ball because he has triple-doubles, Jay.
That is true. He does pass the ball, and he's been very healthy.
Very healthy, yes, exactly. Forgetting the health concerns, he's a very good player. You get your all-star, and he'd be.
My worry is that
the Knicks, OKC couldn't win with him and Paul George. So what the hell are the Knicks going to win? How are the Knicks going to win with him?
No, it's more that he's healthy and he's very productive, but you're talking about a guy who's 30, which isn't too old, but he's played a lot of minutes, a lot of games.
I mean, a lot of guys also don't love playing with him. I know Kevin Durant obviously did not love playing with him. His style, it's all about, even though he passed the ball a lot, it's not necessarily the team basketball you want. He's very maybe he will not be as stat hungry, but his offensive game himself, as far as scoring, is a little more limited than it used to be.
Yeah, I'm more worried about a guy who's played almost 30,000 regular season minutes plus a ton of playoff games.
Well, you could have said the same thing about Durant if he was healthy, and you would have been fine with the Knicks getting Durant.
Yeah, but Durant was the best player in basketball.
I mean, Westbrook's a top 10 player.
So you're for it?
No, of course not. I don't know. I just don't know if Westbrook's the right move. I like the idea of he doesn't get us far enough. Like, he doesn't get us to the title. He doesn't get us to the finals. He doesn't get us even late in the playoffs. Like, you add Westbrook to this roster, it's still like a mediocre roster, and you'd have to give up so much to get him. I feel like it's going to be another Carmelo situation. I think we're stuck with a rebuild. I think Knicks have to build a foundation before they can bring anyone else in. Get to the point where you're a solid 7th or 8th seed, and then you can bring another player in.
Yeah.
Or you bring a star in to put us over the top. Questions? Facebook, emails?
Let's do questions.
Okay. Evan Charles writes, should the Knicks get Westbrook? Joe writes, with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George going to the Clippers, what is the possibility we sign AD next summer, especially if we make the playoffs?
0.
Though, so let's just say the Lakers don't make the playoffs. It's a complete disaster. What does AD do? Does he resign with the Lakers?
I think he does. I think he wants to, even though he has maybe the least amount of personality of anybody ever to be in the NBA, he wants to be like the whole package. He wants to be, outside the NBA. He involved with projects and all that stuff. So, like,
he has no person. I don't see him becoming the face of the NBA because he hasn't already, and he's already had.
He wants that, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
I say if the Lakers are a disaster, he goes somewhere else, but he's not going to go another place unless. I mean, in theory, the Knicks are better. Then they have a better shot. But I think he also might want to go somewhere else with another superstar. So if he leaves there, then he's going to go to. I don't know where.
I don't
some other team will have cap space that has a star player, and it'll make more sense.
Yeah.
He'll end up on the Rockets. Andrew writes, if the Knicks win the Summer League, how soon till Westbrook demands a trade here? So he's with a title-winning organization. LOL. By the way, I don't want Westbrook at all.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to demand a trade to the Knicks. I think he's going to demand a trade.
Yeah, I think he might say the Knicks are a team that I would go to.
Everyone says that.
That's how we would. That's how we're still relevant. Everyone just goes, and I guess I'd go to the Knicks just because I like to troll them.
I wonder if they always use partial quotes. They'd be like, if 28 other teams cease to exist, would you go to the Knicks? and then they would be like, I would consider it.
I think the quote is like, "I'll go to any other team in the NBA," and then that translates to him saying, "Oh, he said he'll go to the Knicks."
Yeah.
I think Westbrook has kind of his best days are behind him. He was really inefficient offensively last year. I don't see that getting better. He was terrible in the playoffs. I don't know. I think he wanted Westbrook 5 years ago, if anything. Steve writes, with his current front office, what is the earliest season would you expect the Knicks to compete in the playoffs? So let's say from where they are now, when are we getting an 8th seed?
2021.
I think they have a legit shot at the playoffs.
Don't say this season.
Next season.
Okay.
This season, when we do our predictions, I will predict the Knicks will win the title because I do that every year because why the hell not?
Yeah.
But no. More seriously, I think the Knicks will be better than expected this year, which is still not that great. But I think from there, 2020, they will have a shot at the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be with Barrett getting better, all the young players getting better, coming more into their own. They'll be in a better position to make the 8th seed. Paul writes, the rumor is the Knicks are going to win Summer League. Do we need to play Randall and Portis to get that done?
We joked about that last week. They should just play the regular season roster. Win something.
Why the hell not? Julian writes, guys, just a reminder, Frank, he's still 20. Don't be so critical already. Yes, he hasn't shown a lot, but in the show during Frank's first year, you both admitted that he will take 3 years to really judge. On the show, we've said it'll take 3 years to really judge him. So maybe we are going. I think we are overreacting a little bit to Frank. Frank's bad play. I don't. Do you think we overreact a little bit to him being bad?
Maybe a little bit, but this is year 3, so.
You know what's funny? If Alonzo, they're like, Alonzo Trier, you're too good to play for the Summer League. If Frank Ntilikina was there, they'd be like, yeah, he needs this playing time.
Yeah.
Hopefully Ntilikina will show more. I mean, he's going to have to fight for playing time this year, and hopefully maybe somehow that'll benefit him, basically, with playing with all these veterans who will be able to hopefully impart their wisdom.
Well, that's the whole theory, right, with signing these guys.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll have a more functional team. I don't know. Maybe he needs to be – everyone always said, like, he's only bad because he's playing with a lot of guys that don't know what they're doing. In a more functional team, he would look better. So maybe he'll get that shot. Tristan writes, has it come true with Zion's injuries, did the Knicks finally make a good move?
Well, it's not like the Knicks chose Barrett over Zion. They would have taken Zion if he was available.
We all would have taken Zion. And I don't know, the thing with Zion, he bumped knees with someone. That's an injury that just happens. And, like, there's nothing about Zion in particular that makes him – that doesn't mean he's injury prone. But at the same time, do you think he's going to be injury prone? He's 280 pounds.
I do. The way he walks already – he walks like he's struggling to walk. I don't know. I don't watch college, so that was my first time looking at him, and I would be a little worried.
It's a lot of weight on that frame. You'd think he'd have to, like...
he doesn't look in shape. He's super, super
compared
jacked.
To us, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, he's super, super jacked, but he looked a little overweight.
He didn't look like Noah Vonleh looked like he was in shape.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he looks like he could lose some of the baby fat.
He looks like he could lose like 10 to 20 pounds, like of just.
Yeah, I don't think losing 20 pounds would be any knock against him, and he's got major ups, and he's an amazing athlete. But I don't know. For a guy who's his amazing agility is one of the things that makes him so good. And he has carried so much weight. I question how healthy he'll be, and once he gets a knee injury, will that agility be gone?
Right.
Oscar, I think he may have a quick burnout in the NBA, and who knows? Like he could be like a Greg Oden type, which is really going far. And I know obviously I'm saying this, and he'll be like the greatest rookie in the history of the NBA.
I wouldn't say Oden. I would think more like Yao, where he's dominates for like 3 or 4 years and then just falls off a cliff.
Didn't Yao have like a 7 or 8 year career? How long was Yao in the league?
He was there for a while, but he was hardly playing. He had an 8-year career. But,
he had a couple of years where he was really good.
Yeah, but his last 2 years he played 0 and 5 games. So he really had
those aren't
7.
big numbers.
Well, And the 7 years he played, he was healthy for 4, but he had 57, 48, 55 as well. So,
I mean, I really just want to hate on Zion because I'm just so frustrated the Knicks didn't get him, even though it was just a lottery. Nothing was fixed.
yeah, totally.
Eric writes, why does it feel like the Knicks have no creativity in the front office? Teams can create cap space overnight, but the Knicks are setting up for a free agency 2 years from now. Should we just go get Beal?
That is true. Like, I mean, some teams are like, yeah, we have no cap space. And it's a player's like, he wants to come there. And the very next day, they're like, oh, we have cap space. And,
yeah.
And the Knicks are perpetually, like, completely
the Knicks
capped
just,
out.
no one wants to come here. Okay, no one's dying to come to a team that's terrible. When the Knicks they've put together basically what the Nets did last year. Maybe teams will want to come here. I mean, players will want to come here. Did you see the Bobby Portis quote, by the way? That it was basically just common knowledge in the NBA that KD and Irving were going to the Nets like halfway, like back in October.
If that is the truth, then the Knicks front office is way more incompetent than. So they thought they were just going to like win them over. Or who are these? Who are these mega free agents that the Knicks swore they were getting?
I don't know. I think they were also just stuck in a terrible situation where KP wanted out and they didn't know what to do, so they were like,
yeah. But in March, Dolan is going on interviews saying the Knicks fans are going to be very happy with this summer.
Do you know the New York Rangers signed the biggest free agent in all of hockey? That's what I heard. I don't know who the player is. Going to follow hockey, but apparently the Rangers had a great offseason. The Rangers are so well run, yet their owner is James Dolan.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, as much as people say like James Dolan is horrible, like what's holding the team back? Why are the Rangers so good? He's like he's a good
because
owner in hockey and a bad owner in basketball.
I mean, he stays out of hockey.
But yes, he's kind of stayed out of things in the NBA also for a while.
Does he though?
Really, what touch since Phil got here? Phil Jackson, like the Mills, Perry.
It's not just the front office stuff. He banned a fan this season. Do you want to go for an organization where the owner is that thin-skinned that he's like personally walking up to fans and banning them? Like, it's embarrassing. Well, seriously,
I know you're right. And they've also, as much as people are like the Knicks are building a better culture, they've as recently as Noah was it this year or last year where they had a whole issue with Noah.
Right.
This year?
I think it was last year, and then the year before was Oakley. So it's like every year there's something super embarrassing, and
the Melo thing ended in a fiasco. Everyone ends their time in New York poorly. That like they have to really to prove to the rest of the players in the NBA the Knicks are like that Dolan is not a problem and the Knicks are a functional organization takes more than 1 year where you win 17 games.
Yeah. So. I mean, not only is the team bad and mismanaged, you have all this embarrassment going on too. So,
yeah. Okay. So Eric writes, Oscar writes. I was reading this Pelton's article on ESPN, and I guess Kevin Pelton's article on ESPN, and it suggested the Knicks could be in best position to trade for Westbrook because of the flexibility they could offer to the Thunder with all those 1+1 team option contracts we just signed. Would you do it adding DSJ and a couple of first rounders? So all you got to trade is for this version of it is Dennis Smith and a couple first rounders. You do it.
Dennis Smith, a couple first rounders for Westbrook.
Yeah. So you're just giving Dennis Smith, and Westbrook is better than Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
And first rounders are valuable, but
I think you do it.
I thought you didn't want Westbrook 5 minutes ago.
I don't, but because you know the Knicks are going to give like 5 draft picks and Barrett and Knox and whatever. Like, if it's just 2 draft picks and Smith, yeah. But I think there's no way.
We also had this conversation with like AD. Well, if I don't know if the Pelicans just want Frank Ntilikina for AD, then I guess I'll do it.
Right, that's the thing. Like that's not going to be a
haul.
Trade. It's going to be like Mitchell Robinson and Kevin Knox and like 5 draft picks.
I'm so scared of the Knicks' ability to make trades that I just don't want the trade to happen.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, we're in agreement there.
Okay, so you would take he was basically giving away on a pretty good offer for the Knicks, you would take him basically. If
Right.
Westbrook comes along and goes, I'm only going to the Knicks, then you would do the deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't want like a Paul
Not that he has
George
any say in
offer.
it because he has a contract, so he has no say in it whatsoever.
No, but I mean, if you think like, okay, Westbrook and Paul George are in the same level, then we should give 5 draft picks and players and swaps and all that. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into any of that.
I mean that Paul George was also Kawhi. It wasn't just one player. So
I get it, but I mean, Anthony Davis was
a big haul. It was
Yeah.
a big haul for Anthony Davis also.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I don't want to trade a huge haul for Westbrook. If it's
Yeah,
obviously, yes, the guy has had 3 straight triple-double seasons. If you can get away with it for, a modest haul, then you do it. But I don't want to mortgage the team to have a
So
guy
it's the haul. It's the haul that holds you back. It's not the not Westbrook per se.
I
It's
still
that,
think fit-wise is not great, timeline-wise. I don't think it's great, but I think
he's got a huge contract, but maybe the Knicks aren't signing anyone anyway.
well, I also think if you
throw some alley oops to Julian Randle,
well, I'm just saying
Julius Randle.
if you can get him for a modest haul, you can. If it doesn't work, you could probably flip him and get back most of those assets. If it doesn't work, like a year from now.
So are you now Jay Usuri or
Masai?
Is that you're
Masai
Jay
Ujiri.
Masai? Okay. Julian writes, Mitchell Robinson looks really sharp versus Zion and had
Building around Robinson and his work ethic.
sure.
Yeah, I mean I think he's the best young guy on the team.
Yeah, I mean, no question. I mean, until RJ Barrett's done anything on this team, I mean, he's clearly the best young player on the team. Paul writes, is there a Nick effect in Summer League? If so, I bet Jared Harper sets a good high mark tonight.
I don't keep track of Nick effects in the summer, but if you want to, I bet you're right.
Paul writes, who will be more efficient this year?
Well, there's
Barrett or
already
Knox?
a Nick effect for Zion because he's not playing again.
Who will be the more efficient this year, Barrett or Knox?
Barrett.
Yeah, I think Knox might be. He'll get more efficient in his second year.
If Knox is more efficient than Barrett this year, that means Knox took a big leap, so I'm happy with that.
It steps forward. It means Barrett maybe will take a leap next year, and slowly but surely these players will get better and better. Email questions.
All right. So email nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We're also NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. The New York Knicks Podcast.com is our website, and you could buy Knicks Podcast t-shirts. You can join our Patreon through there, and you could go to Ticket Club where you get 10 to 20% off all tickets, and that helps support the show too. All right.
Support the show.
Support the show. Baron writes, hey guys, just listen to the last show and y'all be tripping. I love when emails begin with that.
That's how they all should be.
The Knicks don't need
My son has a whole thing now where he ends every sentence with "yo."
Nice.
He's like, I'm going upstairs to watch my iPad. Yo, the Knicks suck. Yo. Okay, go on, Jay.
The Knicks don't need to get better. They need to bottom out. They are now in their version of the process. I know we've been bad for years now, but that wasn't always the plan. 3 years ago, they tried to go for it with Rose, Anthony Noah, and KP. 2 years ago, they probably would have been fighting for a playoff spot if KP didn't get injured. Last year was the first year of the process. If you look, a lot of the top teams, it wasn't a free agent that got them where it was. It was good drafting and trades. Denver, OKC, Portland, Toronto, etc. We can't rely on a free agent to save our team because that guy is not out there for the next few years and probably won't when he's available. We need to bottom out for 2 more years, hopefully get a top 5 draft pick in those years. By then, hopefully guys like Smith, Barrett, Knox, and Robinson develop into quality players and maybe even great players. Then we can make a trade for a top guy and go from there. I know there's a lot of hope in here. For now, that's all we got. So, that was my argument last episode.
Do you think guys develop to, like, players were developed on a team that's a bottom 5 team in the NBA? Do players really develop?
Yeah, I think you can.
I don't know. I find it troubling. I find it hard to believe if players are really going to take step forwards. Your team is terrible every year.
Durant and Westbrook were on the worst team in the league.
Were they?
Yeah.
I can't remember things that happened before now. Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, like, yeah, I think at some point you can't just like tank every year. I can't take them tanking this year, Jay. It's too depressing. I want the Knicks to be better.
So
They win 30 games. They're still a bad team. They still have a high draft pick. I can't take them winning 17 games again this year.
So Kevin Durant, first year 20-62, second year 23-59, and then they got good. But
Those are some pretty good facts, though.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good. I did not realize they were so goddamn awful in this first year, 2 years.
by year 3 they jumped to 50 wins, but by then they had Durant, Harden, Jeff Green. They had a nice team. Westbrook. They had a good team by then.
Okay. Durant was there before Westbrook, right?
Yeah, it was Durant, then Westbrook, then Harden.
Okay, so it's just like Knox, then RJ, and very similar, Jay.
Oh, and they had Ibaka too.
No,
So
I
they drafted
understand what they're
Harden
saying,
and
that we need more
Ibaka,
talent. It would be
Jesus.
great to get another top 5 pick. I also think with the draft lottery odds kind of screwing things a little bit, that it's hard to tank anymore.
It's harder, but
It's definitely harder. And I don't know. At some point, you have a bunch of young players in the team. I want to develop them. Taking on purpose is not the best way to develop them either.
yeah.
I'm not saying we should try to win every meaningless game, but we should give it a go to start the year at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 2 more emails. Deck writes, "Hey guys, hope you're well. A couple questions. When was the last time you guys went to a game, and do you plan on going to see one this season? Coming from England, I've managed to see the Knicks 3 times in the past few years, with every time them missing their best player. Once KP was out, and Dennis Smith Jr. another 2 times. Despite the obvious number of tourists at the games, the New York fans were great, especially in the nosebleeds. So I'm wondering, what's your favorite part of seeing a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden?"
So I took my son to see a game earlier this year. I guess it was I think it was in November or just not November. It was in February. I took him to a game. It was against Philly. The Knicks had a shot to win the game with a last second shot, but they missed. They had a really great comeback. They did a Knick comeback where they always fall short at the end. I try to go to at least one game a year. Part of the problem is the Knicks tickets are just insanely expensive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's very cost prohibitive to go to games. And actually, I went to 2 games last year, but it's still really expensive to go to games. But the Knicks fans are awesome. They get really into the game, and whether you're basically going for win, like you're trying to like start something a really good season, or you're having the worst season in Knicks history and going for your 17th win, the Knicks fans go crazy.
Yeah. I went in April, like this last week of the season, and went with my buddy Paul, and the fans were still totally into it, rooting for every play, and it was still fun. So that's the best part. The Knicks fans never give up. They're always into it.
People say electric, but it really is an electric place to watch games when the Knicks are playing well. Like the fans are just so into every moment of the game. It is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Too bad they're not very good.
And the second part of his question is, what month do you think the Knicks will officially be out of the playoffs? For reference, last season, the Knicks were officially eliminated from playoff contention at the beginning of March with a record of 13-51. I can't see the Knicks making the playoffs, seeing as young guys will still need to improve a hell of a lot unless Barrett or Randall breaks out. I'm
going to take off his question. A better version of his question. When will the Knicks become unwatchable? Not when you will stop following them. When will they basically lose all relevancy and you'll say this season's a disaster?
Isn't that usually January?
Yeah, it's usually January. Will they go past January? Because usually, like, you have some hope maybe they're going to be okay, and then they could just start falling apart in January. It'll probably be January again, I guess.
I'm giving them All-Star break, and as far as elimination, I'm going to say late March.
So you're saying the team will be interesting and relevant till February?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be a huge step forward, and that would not be helpful for tanking, Jay. But
no, I think Randall's going to be just good enough to make the Knicks win some games.
Randall is, 23 years old? He's a very good young player. Him next to Mitchell Robinson, you got RJ Barrett, who should develop. Knox is going to get better. Trier is pretty good. Dennis Smith hopefully will take a step forward. You got a lot of pieces here. I think there's too many pieces here to say let's just win 17 games again.
Yeah. And he says, lastly, want to say I thought about it the other day, and I actually have memories of listening to the show all the way back in 2011. Crazy. If someone told you back then that the Knicks were going to be this bad in the future, would you just have packed it all up and stopped watching basketball?
100% yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a no-brainer. If you told us we would be doing the show for 11 seasons and there would be like one decent season.
It's almost like we want to go back in time and just start. It's like, hey, Jay, do you want to do a New York Knicks podcast? And like one of us would just like jump in and go, don't say New York Knicks podcast. Like somehow like we'll stop the show from ever originating.
Right. And I'd be like, hey, that sounds interesting, but you know what? I think this show, Game of Thrones, is going to be a hit. Maybe we should do a podcast about that instead.
That's a good idea. I don't think that show comes on for 2 more years, but yeah, let's do it.
All right. And last question. Sam writes, what do you think about trading Dennis Smith Jr., Knox, and Frank for Westbrook? Westbrook is a better version of DSJ. Knox seems he can only play well in Summer League, and Frank is a G League player. I know Westbrook is on the decline, but I would rather have him than those three. I wouldn't touch anyone else on the team, just those three. I would say that there's no way that gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these things are no way it gets done.
Unless you're throwing in like 100 draft picks. That's not getting it done.
Would you rather throw in the young players or the draft picks? What would you rather hold back?
I would rather hold back the young players.
It would be really ridiculous to trade R.J. Barrett after just drafting a number 3 for Westbrook.
Yeah.
Even though Westbrook obviously is a very good player, and we would dream that Barrett would one day get as good as Westbrook.
Yeah.
I don't know. 30 with all these injuries and everything else doesn't seem like the best move in the world.
No.
Unless you get a great deal for him.
Yep.
Okay, let's end the show, Jay.
All right. So thank you for listening, everybody. I think we might be taking a little bit of time off.
Why not? We're not going to, I thought we'd spend the next 10 weeks examining this Westbrook thing.
But we have another show. It's a comedy podcast called The Brink of Sanity. You can check that out on iTunes or go to brinkofsanityshow.com. And
so not much is going on in Knicks world, so we may be doing more Brink of Sanity or just getting our sanity back from the Knicks while this episodes will be very irregular in the summer. We'll be back more in the full swing come the preseason.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll be back soon. Bye.
My love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye.